Hello and welcome to PBBN TV. My name is Mark Rosetto. I have got Seva Majayev. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yes, come on. Took me a few practices. Coming from Perth, wedding photographer, but also digital marketing and TikTok, 1.6 million follower, creative master, all at the same time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark, and appreciate the intro.
Very cool, very cool. Now I actually bumped into you purely through a TikTok advertising or a Facebook or an Instagram advertising and then pressed the buttons, LinkedIn. Within about 12 minutes, I was on a coaching call with you. And then the next day we were chatting. So clearly, you know exactly what you're doing in that space and the system worked. But for those people that don't know who are you? How did you get from a teacher to wedding photography to now into the digital marketing space?
Yeah,
Right.
so I this the overall theme here is I kept paying attention to myself all throughout my 20s.
Yep.
Always loved taking photos ever since I picked up my first camera when I was a kid. It was one of the first alpha cameras that my parents had, and I was just
Yep.
obsessed with it. Things like barely 12 megapixel video recorder. Felt like I was recording on a calculator.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I when I got older, I finished high school, I was into footy and I got into the West Australian Football League and I played there for 8 years. But in
AFL
that time,
footy?
I had a sorry?
AFL footy?
Yeah, AFL footy, yeah.
Yeah, no, nice.
So state level,
Yeah,
so
cool.
semi-professional.
Yeah, nice.
In that time, I had a halfway through that career, I had a ACL reconstruction, and that meant 12 months off.
That goes.
So I thought, well, let's go a little bit harder with the camera stuff and buy a DSLR camera. So that
Yeah.
was 20 end of 2014.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started taking photos of whatever I could.
Yeah,
And
nice.
that was the beginning of like my camera photo obsession.
Yeah,
And
nice.
at the time, Instagram was just starting to blow up a little bit more for creators. But I was like, I'm not getting sucked into the how many views or followers or likes or comments I got. I'm just gonna do a challenge. Like if you scroll all the way down on my Instagram feed, you'll see those original photos still there. Like before I discovered Lightroom, before anything like that,
Let's have a
I was
look.
just like, let's do it. Yeah.
Is
So
that the
that's
one?
that's the
Sev
wedding
Weddings?
page. That's the
Yeah.
wedding page. Sev's Pics is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll take you 4 years to scroll to the bottom, but yeah, the photos that I took originally on there were yeah, you're gonna probably take about half an hour doing that, but good luck. So anyway, the photos I took was just to challenge myself to see, right, what can I do and can I build consistency? Because my overall goal was to be able to yeah, see if I actually could stand the distance
Yeah.
before I could really start buying more camera gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I discovered Lightroom, started editing, and I was all into wildlife and landscape stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just started experimenting with presets and things like that. And then a friend of mine said, "Why don't you start taking photos of people?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really into that sort of stuff."
Yeah.
And then I started doing it and I liked it. Started
Yeah.
taking my first portraits, not discovered, but started to try Photoshop. And I remember a couple of workshops and stuff on that I did online on how to use Photoshop properly, like the layers and the dodge and burn and all this stuff. I remember seeing like my stepdad back in the day with Photoshop 1. He had the whole manual. He was reading it
Yeah.
out of like the hard book, but I was learning it in real time online, and I had all these free presets that came with the course.
Yeah,
So I
nice.
did that, and I remember doing my first Photoshop image. I spent ages on it. And I was like, "This is amazing." Posted it, and then literally within like a week, I was like, "This sucks. Do it again." And then just obsessed with portraits, and I was like, "I want to like really make it cool." And then that evolved into my first wedding shoot. Now, during all of this time, I was doing a teaching degree because I was studying to be a high school teacher. in
Yeah.
science, maths, and PE. Now, fast forward to end of 2017, I got my permanent job within 1 year of leaving uni, which is unheard of,
Yeah.
which meant that I didn't have to look for a job ever again.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
was working for like the government,
Yep.
government job, you're safe.
Yeah.
And I was
Absolutely.
like, okay, cool. Well, now every afternoon I can just unwind and go take photos. On the
Nice.
weekends, I could take photos. I didn't play football anymore. It was just teaching and photos.
Yeah.
And then I remember one relief lesson I took over for one of the schools I started with. It was a photography class. And I was like, this is goals. This is great.
Yeah.
But kids in that class, they didn't care about it because it was like their third or fourth subject they chose and specialized. They didn't get what they wanted originally, and it
Yeah.
was like their third or fourth choice. So they didn't care. So I had
Yeah.
a bit of a challenge, and I don't remember the actual teacher's name that I covered for, but just yeah, it was like the lessons were just not interactive and not fun at all.
Yeah.
So I came in and I shared my photos at the start of each lesson, saying, "This is the photos I took on the weekend. Check them out." And
Yeah.
they were like, "Wow, these are really cool." And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they all wanted to learn how to do photos, how to take photos. And all of a sudden, the class was what it was meant to be because they were obsessed with the
Yeah.
story behind each of the photos that I was showing them after each weekend.